I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, August the 11th. Brought to you in part by VitaFirm, the best mineral money can buy, made right there in South St. Joe, Missouri by biozyme.com. They've got the patented Amafirm I've seen making their laboratories there, and that's what all your other mineral makers want to get. So for more information, go to biozyme.com for VitaFirm products. Your net price distribution report came out on Tuesday. It's the first time it ever come out. It's all about this price transparency deal, and it come from the executive order that President Biden put through here several weeks ago. But it is shedding some light on what's going on, and I expected more from this report than I did the daily report that we talked about on our last visit, and indeed there was more information on there. If you look at some of that, I'm going to show you the live breakdown on distribution there on your different types of marketing methods there. But listen to the live weighted average prices as you're looking at this graph. Your negotiated live weighted average price was $123.97, which doesn't sound too awful bad. $124, that's on last week's prices. Your formula net was $123.24. So a good 60 cents under that on all these formula deals that we hear such good things about. And your forward contracts were the only one that was higher at 125.09. Of course, we're going into an up market, so you would expect that. Negotiated grid or bid the grid that everybody's talked about turned out to be the lowest one on a live basis anyway at 122.96. You look at that and there's small volumes that are coming through on your formula, and there's a wide range. So indeed there are some big premiums out there, but they're not being paid for very many cattle, and there's some big discounts being paid also on not very many head, but a wide spread on your formula net on a live basis and on your dress basis also. But it's kind of an eye-opening look there. Let's look at your dressed weighted average. I'll give you the weighted average, and you can look at this graph on the dressed net price distribution, and you look and you can see right there that there's bigger prices being paid on more head on your negotiated. Your negotiated dressed weighted average come out to be $198.23, and it paled all the other forms by a long shot. Your formula dressed weighted average price was $195.91, a long ways back from what your negotiated was. Forward contracts, by contrast with the live, was well under that, like $8 back on your forward contract dressed weighted average price, net $190.30. So that probably goes back to these long-term deals on your sweetheart deals and your AMAs that everybody talks about that are so great. But your next best compared to your negotiated on a dress basis weighted average was on your negotiated grid, and it was $197.48, but still about 75 cents back from what your negotiated dressed price was net. But you know, that's kind of an eye-opener, guys. So the moral of the story is maybe the negotiated ain't so bad if you've got the wherewithal to go ahead and do the negotiated. I know you don't have to do it, but it's a hell of a lot easier just to sign a contract and just send the cattle in whenever it's they call for them. But if you get out there and negotiate for a price, it's what so many of us have been talking about. You can get higher prices, and it just gives more ammo for what I'm saying is we need a mandated minimum negotiated cash trade. There's more volume at a better price for the most part on negotiated sales. Let's talk about your board on Tuesday. August live cattle futures up 65 cents at 123.65. October had a nice gain, also up 65 at 128.12. Going to back months, your live cattle futures up 2 cents to up 65. So up 65 was kind of a popular trend level for today's live cattle futures. August feeder cattle up 2 cents at 159.32. September down 15, so not a whole lot going on in your feeder cattle pit. 163.05, and the back months your feeder cattle up 15 cents to up 65 cents, but not a whole lot of movement. Not much trade direct on negotiated fat cattle sales. The only thing we had that was confirmed, reported, was Iowa had 200 head confirmed, and just mixed bag cattle at 125. But I did hear there were rumors out there that they did have 203 to a regional packer there in the northern feedlot areas, and it does not surprise me at all. Let's look at Stockman's fat cattle sale in Yankton, South Dakota. Now, they do get a premium for the non-implanted and the drug-free cattle there, but it's not huge, but it is measurable there, and you can tell on your price range. But non-implanted or drug-free fat cattle in the auction brick and mortar sale there, Stockman's Livestock in Yankton, South Dakota, sold mostly 126.5 to 135.50. So that's quite a bit better than we're getting on a direct basis. Conventional cattle, just commodity cattle, a lot of them be high in quality, but no bells and whistles for the most part, selling from 123 to 133. So let's get a little competition out there, guys. Box beef cutout values sharply higher on Tuesday. They're back well over $3 on your choice cuts there. Choice cuts on Tuesday afternoon, 305.32 up 5.52. Selects 284.61 up 3.80. Slaughter is running at just a decent pace, but they're not going to get what we had last week. It doesn't look like, unless we have a big Saturday. But 233,000 through Tuesday, 5,000 less than last week at this point, and 2,000 more than the same week a year ago at this point. Let's talk about what else is going on. We had a kind of a late market of the month because of the 4th of July holiday for your last market of the month, but we are going to award the market of the month. Zach Tran's market of the month this month is winter livestock at Pratt, Kansas. Tell you what, Mike Lewis, Steve Stratford there, Bob Wilkie, all those guys that are involved in that, they do an excellent job there at Pratt Livestock. And you look back over the last several weeks, and they've had some of the highest sales in the whole country sitting down there in the Southern Plains. Now, they had that big special, the Hall of Fame special during winter's big doings last week with the King of the Ring sale and all that went with, but Pratt does a pretty darn good job every week there. And congratulations to Pratt Livestock being the Zach Tran Market of the Month. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market this Tuesday. Real-time index on DV auction late in the afternoon on Tuesday at 155.12. That was down 79 cents, but I don't think it's really the market on yearlings. We're just starting to see more calves come into that weight range, that 7 to 899 pound range that makes up your index. And you see more calves slip in there. They're high in quality, but they're not going to feed nearly as well as those long yearlings, even the commodity type yearlings off grass there. But I think that's the most reason that's starting to back off a little bit, because of your northern plains sales selling some big calves. But talk about your big sales on Tuesday. Ozarks Regional Stockyard, West Plains, Missouri, had about 2,100 head in the barn. Another 1,500 head on the in-house video that they do with DV auction. They're having the best luck with that. They have in-house video lots almost every single week. But in the sale ring there, the market on steer calves was $3 to $5 lower. It's hot down there, and that can be understood. Your heifer calves kind of uneven, from $2 lower to $2 higher. Yearling steers on hand in the barn in West Plains were steady to $3 higher. How about Beaver County Stockyard? This is the second week they're broadcast with DV auction. About 1,600 head of feeders there, and they always have a good run of cows, and they got a hell of a cow market too. But in your mix on Beaver County Stockyards, they sold 9 loads of 900 to 950 pound yearling steers right off grass, bring from 148 to 157, and for the most part all in the mid to upper 50s there. And Jeff Slatton and those guys at Beaver County Stockyards doing a good job. They don't have one pen out there that's not brand new, guys. They got a nice facility, and that Beaver sale barn is here to stay. How about some other individual quotes around the circuit there? Kingsville Livestock Auction in Kingsville, Missouri. 60 head, 805 pound steers, bring 160 and a quarter. That's a nice price there in West Central Missouri. How about Central Missouri? Lolly Brothers Livestock Market in Macon, Missouri. They have horse sales, they have exotic sales, they have good cattle sales. 57 head, 814 pound steers in Macon, Missouri, bring $162. And my dear friend Greg Harrison that I worked with so many years and really close with. He had some of his own personal cattle in there. 35 head, 710-pound backgrounded steers at 166.75. But the best quote that I saw anywhere for where it's at and everything that's going on in your Zach Tran top quote for the day come out of Seven Rivers Livestock Commission. Manager Eric Dries, good friend of mine. They've had their problems with the dry country up there this summer, and sitting right at the edge of Boise, Idaho there. But Eric Dries told me about those cattle. They were purchased cattle. They were bought through Seven Rivers Livestock Commission, just right off grass, but basically commodity cattle with no bells and whistles. 75 head, 762-pound steers in Emmett, Idaho, at $162. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.